Act 1 of The Witch of Edmonton by William Rowley, Thomas Dekker, and John Ford. The Witch of Edmonton, which was probably first performed in 1623, was not published until 35 years later, in 1658. It was then issued in the usual quarto form, with the title The Witch of Edmonton, a known true story, composed into a tragicomedy by divers well-esteemed poets, William Rowley, Thomas Dekker, John Ford, etc. Acted by the prince's servants, often at the cockpit in Drury Lane, once at court with singular applause. The best modern reprint of the play is that in the Gifford Dice edition of Ford, upon which the present version is based. It is impossible to assign the exact share of the various authors in the play. The business of the witch, the rustic chorus, and certain other parts mark themselves out as mainly Dekker's. The conception of Sir Arthur Clarrington and the subsidiary domestic plot is no doubt mainly Ford's. Rowley's share is more difficult to ascertain. The intimate collaboration of all three can alone be held accountable for some of the scenes, and indeed in even the passages most characteristic of any one of the authors. The touch of another often shows itself in a chance word or phrase. The justification for the description of the play as a known true story is a pamphlet written by Henry Goodcole and published at London in 1621, giving an account of one Elizabeth Sawyer, late of Islington, who was executed in 1621 for witchcraft. See Caulfield's Portraits, Memoirs, and Characters of Remarkable Persons, 1794. No existing copy of the pamphlet is known, but the British Museum possesses copies of two of Goodcole's other pamphlets on similar subjects. Prologue. The town of Edmonton hath lent the stage a devil and a witch, both in age. To make comparisons it were uncivil, between so even a pair, a witch and a devil. But as the year doth with his plenty bring, as well as a latter as a former spring, so hath this witch enjoyed the first in reason, presumes she may partake the other season. In acts deserving name the proverb says, once good and ever, why not so in plays? Why not in this, since gentlemen we flatter, no expectation, here is mirth and matter. Master Bird. The whole argument of the play is this to stitch. Forced marriage, murder, murder blood requires, reproach, revenge, revenge hell's help desires. Dramatis Personae. Narrator read by Lydia. Sir Arthur Clarrington.
Read by Brad Philippone.
Old Thorny, a gentleman.
Read by Peter Tucker.
Carter, a rich yeoman.
Read by Todd.
Warbeck and Somerton, suitors to Carter's daughters.
Warbeck, read by John Burlinson.
Somerton, read by David Purdy.
Frank, Thorny's son.
Read by David Nicol.
Old Banks, a countryman.
Read by Alan Mapstone.
Cuddy Banks, his son.
Read by Adrian Strowett.
Ratcliffe and Hamlet, countryman.
Ratcliffe, read by Dylan McFarlane.
Hamlock, read by Peter Tucker.
Morris dancers. Sawgut, an old fiddler.
Read by Brad Philippone.
A dog, a familiar.
Read by Rob Board.
A spirit.
Read by Christine G.
Countrymen, justice, constables, officers, serving men and maids.
The first countryman, read by Mark Thornton.
Second countryman, read by Charlotte Duckett.
Third countryman, read by Leanne Yao.
Justice, read by David Olson. Constable, read by David Olson.
Mother Sawyer, the witch.
Read by Beth Thomas.
Anne, Ratcliffe's wife.
Read by Newgate novelist.
Susan and Catherine, Carter's daughters.
Susan, read by Sonia.
Catherine, read by Christine G.
Winnifred, Sir Arthur's maid.
Read by Elizabeth Clett.
Scene, the town and neighbourhood of Edmonton, in the end of the last act, London. The Witch of Edmonton, Act the First. Scene 1. The neighbourhood of Edmonton, a room in the house of Sir Arthur Clarrington. Enter Frank Thorny and Winnifred, who is with child.
Come, wench, why here's a business soon dispatched. Thy heart I know is now at ease. Thou needst not fear what the tattling gossips in their cups can speak against thy fame. Thy child shall know whom to call dad now.
You have ere discharged the true part of an honest man. I cannot request a fuller satisfaction than you have freely granted. Yet methinks 'tis an hard case. Being lawful man and wife, we should not live together.
Had I failed in promise of my truth to thee, we must then have been ever sundered. Now, the longest of our forbearing either's company is only but to gain a little time for our continuing thrift, that so hereafter the heir that shall be born shall not have cause to curse his hour of birth, which made him feel the misery of beggary and want, two devils that are occasions to enforce a shameful end. My plots aim but to keep my father's love.
And that will be as difficult to be preserved when he shall understand how you are married, as it will be now, should you confess it to him.
Fathers are won by degrees, not bluntly as our masters or wronged friends are, and besides, I'll use such dutiful and ready means that, ere he can have notice of what's past, the inheritance to which I am born heir shall be assured. That done, why let him know it. If he like it not, yet he shall have no power in him left to cross the thriving of it.
You, who had the conquest of my maiden love, may easily conquer the fears of my distrust. And whither must I be hurried?
Prithee, do not use a word so much unsuitable to the constant affections of thy husband. Thou shalt live near Waltham Abbey with thy uncle Selman. I have acquainted him with all at large. He'll use thee kindly. Thou shalt want no pleasures nor any other fit supplies whatever thou canst in heart desire.
All these are nothing without your company.
Which thou shalt have, once every month at least.
Once every month? Is this to have an husband?
Perhaps oftener. That's as occasion serves.
Aye, aye. In case no other beauty tempt your eye, whom you like better, I may chance to be remembered, and see you now and then. Faith, I did hope you'd not have used me so. 'Tis but my fortune. And yet, if not for my sake, have some pity upon the child I go with. That's your own. And lest you'll be a cruel-hearted father, you cannot but remember that. Heaven knows how.
To quit which fear at once. As by the ceremony late performed, I plighted thee a faith as free from challenge as any double thought. Once more, in hearing of heaven and thee, I vow that never henceforth disgrace, reproof, lawless affections, threats, or what can be suggested against our marriage, shall cause me falsify that bridal oath that binds me thine. And, Winnifred, whenever the wanton heat of youth by subtle baits of beauty or what woman's art can practise draw me from only loving thee, let heaven inflict upon my life some fearful ruin. I hope thou dost believe me.
Swear no more. I am confirmed, and will resolve to do what you think most behopeful for us.
Thus then, make thyself ready. At the furthest house upon the green without the town, your uncle expects you. For a little time, farewell.
Sweet, we shall meet again as soon as thou canst possibly.
We shall. One kiss. Away.
Exit Winnifred. Enter Sir Arthur Clarrington.
Frank Thorny.
Here, sir.
Alone? Then must I tell thee in plain terms thou hast wronged thy master's house basely and lewdly.
Your house, sir?
Yes, sir. If the nimble devil that wantoned in your blood rebelled against all rules of honest duty, you might, sir, have found out some more fitting place than here to have built a stews in. All the country whispers how shamefully thou hast undone a maid, approved for modest life, for civil carriage, till thy prevailing perjuries enticed her to forfeit shame. Will you be honest yet, make her amends, and marry her?
So, sir, I might bring both myself and her to beggary, and that would be a shame worse than the other.
You should have thought on this before, and then your reason would have overswayed the passion of your unruly lust. But that you may be left without excuse to solve the infamy of my disgraced house, and cause you are a gentleman, and both of you my servants, I'll make the maid a portion.
So you promised me before, in case I married her. I know Sir Arthur Clarrington deserves the credit report hath lent him, and presume you are a debtor to your promise. But upon what certainty shall I resolve? Excuse me for being somewhat rude.
It is but reason. Well, Frank, what thinkst thou of £200, and a continual friend?
Though my poor fortunes might happily prefer me to a choice of a far greater portion, yet, to right a wronged maid, and to preserve your favour, I am content to accept your proffer.
Art thou?
Sir, we shall every day have need to employ the use of what you please to give.
Thou shalt have't.
Then I claim your promise. We are man and wife.
Already?
And more than so, sir. I have promised her free entertainment in her uncle's house near Waltham Abbey, where she may securely sojourn till time and my endeavours work my father's love and liking.
Honest Frank!
I hope, sir, you will think I cannot keep her without a daily charge.
As for the money, 'tis all thine own. And though I cannot make thee a present payment, yet thou shalt be sure I will not fail thee.
But our occasions?
Nay, nay, talk not of your occasions. Trust my bounty, it shall not sleep. Hast married her, i' faith, Frank? 'Tis well, 'tis passing well. Then, Winnifred, once more thou art an honest woman. Frank, thou hast a jewel. Love her, she'll deserve it. And win to Waltham.
She is making ready. Her uncle stays for her.
Most provident speed. Frank, I will be thy friend, and such a friend. Thou'lt bring her thither?
Sir, I cannot. Newly my father sent me word I should come to him.
Marry, and do. I know thou hast a wit to handle him.
I have a suit to you.
What is it? Anything, Frank, command it.
That you'll please, by letters, to assure my father that I am not married.
How?
Someone or other hath certainly informed him that I purposed to marry Winnifred, on which he threatened to disinherit me. To prevent it, lowly I crave your letters, which he seeing will credit, and I hope, ere I return, on such conditions as I'll frame, his lands shall be assured.
But what is there to quit my knowledge of the marriage?
Why, you were not a witness to it.
I conceive, and then, his land confirmed, thou wilt acquaint him throughly with all that's past.
I mean no less.
Provided I never was made privy to it.
Alas, sir, am I a talker?
Draw thyself the letter, I'll put my hand to it. I commend thy policy, thou'rt witty, Frank. Nay, nay, 'tis fit. Dispatch it.
I shall write effectually.
Exit.
Go thy way, cuckoo. Have I caught the young man? One trouble then is freed. He that will feast at others' cost must be a bold-faced guest.
Re-enter Winnifred in a riding suit.
Win, I have heard the news. All now is safe. The worst is past. Thy lip, wench.
Kisses her.
I must bid farewell for fashion's sake, but I will visit thee suddenly, girl. This was cleanly carried, was't not, Win?
Then were my happiness, that I in heart repent I did not bring him the dower of a virginity. Sir, forgive me, I have been much to blame. Had not my lewdness given way to your immoderate waste of virtue, you had not with such eagerness pursued the error of your goodness.
Dear, dear Win, I hug this art of thine. It shows how cleanly thou canst beguile, in case occasion serve to practice. It becomes thee. Now we share free scope enough without control or fear to interchange our pleasures. We will surfeit in our embraces, wench. Come, tell me, when wilt thou appoint a meeting?
What to do?
Good, good. To con the lesson of our loves, our secret game.
Oh, blush to speak it further. As you're a noble gentleman, forget a sin so monstrous. 'Tis not gently done to open a cured wound. I know you speak for trial. Troth, ye need not.
I for trial? Not I, by this good sunshine.
Can you name that syllable of good, and yet not tremble to think to what a foul and black intent you use it for an oath? Let me resolve you. If you appear in any visitation that brings not with it pity for the wrongs done to abused Thorny, my kind husband, if you infect mine ear with any breath that is not thoroughly perfumed with sighs for former deeds of lust, may I be cursed even in my prayers when I vouchsafe to see or hear you. I will change my life from a loose whore to a repentant wife.
Wilt thou turn monster now? Art not ashamed after so many months to be honest at last? Away, away, fie on't.
My resolution is built upon a rock. This very day young Thorny vowed, with oaths not to be doubted, that never any change of love should cancel the bonds in which we are to either bound of lasting truth. And shall I then, for my part, unfile the sacred oath set on record in heaven's book? Sir Arthur, do not study to add to your lascivious lust the sin of sacrilege. For if you but endeavour by any unchaste word to tempt my constancy, you strive as much as in you lies to ruin a temple hallowed to the purity of holy marriage. I have said enough. You may believe me.
Get you to your nunnery. There freeze in your cold cloister. This is fine.
Good angels guide me. Sir, you'll give me leave to weep and pray for your conversion?
Yes, away to Waltham. Pox on your honesty. Had you no other trick to fool me? Well, you may want money yet.
None that I'll send for to you, for hire of a damnation. When I am gone, think on my just complaint. I was your devil. Oh, be you my saint!
Exit.
Go, go thy ways, as changeable a baggage as ever cozened knight. I'm glad I'm rid of her. Honest, marry, hang her. Thorny is my debtor. I thought to have paid him too, but fools have fortune.
Exit. Scene 2, Edmonton. A room in Carter's house. Enter Old Thorny and Carter.
You offer, Master Carter, like a gentleman. I cannot find fault with it, 'tis so fair.
No gentleman I, Master Thorny. Spare the mastership. Call me by my name, John Carter. Master is a title my father, nor his before him, were acquainted with. Honest Hertfordshire yeoman. Such an one am I. My word and my deed shall be proved one at all times. I mean to give you no security for the marriage money.
How? No security? Although it need not so long as you live, yet who is he has surety of his life 1 hour? Men, the proverb says, are mortal. Else for my part I distrust you not with a sum double.
Double, treble, more or less, I tell you, Master Thorny, I'll give no security. Bonds and bills are but terriers to catch fools, and keep lazy knaves busy. My security shall be present payment. And we here about Edmonton hold present payment as sure as an alderman's bond in London, Master Thorny.
I cry you mercy, sir. I understood you not.
I like young Frank well. So does my Susan too. The girl has a fancy to him, which makes me ready in my purse. There may be other suitors within that make much noise to little purpose. If Frank loves Sue, Sue shall have none but Frank. 'Tis a mannerly girl, Master Thorny, though but a homely man's daughter. There have worse faces looked out of black bags, man.
You speak your mind freely and honestly. I marvel my son comes not. I am sure he will be here some time today.
Today or tomorrow, when he comes he shall be welcome to bread, beer, and beef, yeoman's fare. We have no kickshaws, full dishes, whole bellyfuls. Should I diet 3 days at one of the slender city suppers, you might send me to Barber's Surgeon's Hall the 4th day to hang up for an anatomy. Here come they that.
Enter Warbeck with Susan, Somerton with Catherine.
How now, girls? Every day play day with you? Valentine's Day too, all by couples? Thus will young folk do when we are laid on our graves, Master Thorny. Here's all the care they take. And how do you find the wenches, gentlemen? Have they any mind to a loose gown and a straight shoe? Win 'em and wear 'em, they shall choose for themselves by my consent.
You speak like a kind father. So thou hear'st the liberty that's granted thee. What say'st thou? Wilt thou be mine?
Your what, sir? I dare swear never your wife.
Canst thou be so unkind? Considering how dearly I affect thee, nay, dote on thy perfections.
You are studied, too scholar-like, in words I understand not. I am too coarse for such a gallant's love as you are.
By the honour of gentility.
Good sir, no swearing. Yea and nay with us prevail above all oaths you can invent.
By this white hand of thine.
Take a false oath! Fie, fie, flatter the wise. Fools not regarded, and one of these am I.
Dost thou despise me?
Let 'em talk on, Master Thorny. I know Sue's mind. The fly may buzz about the candle, he shall but singe his wings when all's done. Frank is he has her heart.
But shall I live in hope, Kate?
Better so than be a desperate man.
Perhaps thou thinkest it is thy portion I love a lad. Wert thou as poor in fortunes as thou art rich in goodness, I would rather be suitor for the dower of thy virtues than twice thy father's whole estate. And prithee, be thou resolved so.
Master Somerton, it is an easy labour to deceive, a maid that will believe men's subtle promises. Yet I conceive of you as worthily as I presume you to deserve.
Which is as worthily in loving thee sincerely as thou art worthy to be so beloved.
I shall find time to try you.
Do, Kate, do. And when I fail, may all my joys forsake me.
Warbeck and Sue are at it still. I laugh to myself, Master Thorny, to see how earnestly he beats the bush while the bird is flown into another's bosom. A very unthrift, Master Thorny. one of the country roaring lads. We have such as well as the city, and as arrant rake-hells as they are, though not so nimble at their prizes of wit. Sue knows the rascal to a hair's breadth, and will fit him accordingly.
What is the other gentleman?
One Somerton, the honester man of the two by £5 in every stone weight. A civil fellow, he has a fine convenient estate of land in West Ham by Essex. Master Ranges, that dwells by Enfield, sent him hither. He likes Kate well. I may tell you I think she likes him as well. If they agree, I'll not hinder the match for my part. But that Warbeck is such another. I use him kindly for Master Somerton's sake, for he came hither first as a companion of his. Honest men, Master Thorny, may fall into knaves' company now and then.
300 a year jointure, Sue.
Where lies it? By sea or by land? I think by sea.
Do I look like a captain?
Not a whit, sir. Should all that use the seas be reckoned captains, there's not a ship should have a scullion in her to keep her clean.
Do you scorn me, Mistress Susan? Am I a subject to be jeered at?
Neither am I a property for you to use as stale to your fond wanton loose discourse. Pray, sir, be civil.
Wilt be angry, wasp?
God a mercy, Sue! She'll firk him on my life, if he fumble with her.
Enter Frank.
Master Francis Thorny, you are welcome indeed. Your father expected your coming. How does the right worshipful knight, Sir Arthur Clarrington, your master?
In health this morning, sir, my duty.
Now you come as I could wish.
Aside.
Frank Thorny, her.
You must excuse me.
Virtuous Mistress Susan, kind Mistress Catherine.
Kisses them.
Gentlemen, to both good time of the day.
The like to you.
'Tis he. A word, friend.
Aside to Somerton.
On my life, this is the man stands fair in crossing Susan's love to me.
Aside to Warbeck.
I think no less. Be wise, and take no notice on't. He that can win her best deserves her.
Aside to Somerton.
Marry a serving man? Yea.
Aside to Warbeck.
Prithee, friend, no more.
Gentlemen all, there's within a slight dinner ready, if you please to taste of it. Master Thorny, Master Francis, Master Somerton. Why, girls, what huswives! Will you spend all your forenoon in the tittle-tattles? Away! It's well, in faith. Will you go in, gentlemen?
We'll follow presently. My son and I have a few words of business.
At your pleasure.
Exeunt all but old Thorny and Frank.
I think you guess the reason, Frank, for which I sent for you.
Yes, sir.
I need not tell you with what a labyrinth of dangers daily the best part of my whole estate's encumbered. Nor have I any clue to wind it out but what occasion proffers me, wherein if you should falter I shall have the shame, and you the loss. On these 2 points rely our happiness or ruin. If you marry with wealthy Carter's daughter, there's a portion will free my land, all which I will instate upon the marriage to you. Otherwise I must be of necessity enforced to make a present sale of all. And yet, for aught I know, live in his poor distress, or worse than now I do. You hear the sum. I told you thus before. Have you considered on't?
I have, sir, and however I could wish to enjoy the benefit of single freedom, for that I find no disposition in me to undergo the burden of that care that marriage brings with it, yet to secure and settle the continuance of your credit, I humbly yield to be directed by you in all commands.
You have already used such thriving protestations to the maid that she is wholly yours. And speak the truth. You love her, do you not?
'Twere pity, sir, I should deceive her.
Better you'd been unborn. But is your love so steady that you mean, nay, more desire, to make her your wife?
Else, sir, it were a wrong not to be righted.
True, it were. And you will marry her?
Heaven prosper it. I do intend it.
Oh, thou art a villain, a devil like a man. Wherein have I offended all the powers so much to be father to such a graceless, godless son?
To me, sir, this? Oh, my cleft heart!
To thee, son of my curse! Speak truth and blush, thou monster! Hast thou not married Winnifred, a maid was fellow servant with thee?
Aside.
Some swift spirit has blown this news abroad. I must outface it.
Do you study for excuse? Why, all the country is full on't.
With your license, 'tis not charitable, I am sure it is not fatherly, so much to be o'erswayed with credulous conceit of mere impossibilities. But fathers are privileged to think and talk at pleasure.
Why, canst thou yet deny thou hast no wife?
What do you take me for? An atheist? One that nor hopes the blessedness of life hereafter, neither fears the vengeance due to such as make the marriage bed an inn, which travellers day and night after a toilsome lodging leave at pleasure? Am I become so sensible of losing the glory of creation's work, my soul? Oh, I have lived too long.
Thou hast, dissembler. Darest thou persevere yet, and pull down wrath as hot as flames of hell, to strike thee quick into the grave of horror? I believe thee not. Get from my sight.
Sir, though mine innocence needs not a stronger witness than the clearness of an unperished conscience, yet, for that I was informed how mainly you had been possessed of this untruth, to quit all scruple, please you, peruse this letter. 'Tis to you.
From whom?
Sir Arthur Clarrington, my master.
Well, sir.
Reads. Aside.
On every side I am distracted, and waded deeper into mischief than virtue can avoid. But on I must. Fate leads me. I will follow. There you read what may confirm you.
Yes, and wonder at it. Forgive me, Frank. Credulity abused me. My tears express my joy, and I am sorry I injured innocence.
Alas, I knew your rage and grief proceeded from your love to me, so I conceived it.
My good son, I'll bear with many faults in thee hereafter. Bear thou with mine.
The piece is soon concluded.
Re-enter Carter and Susan.
Why, Master Thorny, do you mean to talk out your dinner? The company attends your coming. What must it be, Master Frank, or son Frank? I am plain Dunstable.
Son, brother, if your daughter like to have it so.
I dare be confident she is not altered from what I left her at our parting last. Are you, fair maid?
You took too sure possession of an engaged heart.
Which now I challenge.
Marry, and much good may it do thee, son. Take her to thee. Get me a brace of boys and a burthen, Frank. The nursing shall not stand thee in a penny's worth of milk. Reach her home and spare not. When's the day?
Tomorrow, if you please. To use ceremony of charge and custom were to little purpose. Their loves are married fast enough already.
A good motion. We'll e'en have a household dinner, and let the fiddlers go scrape. Let the bride and bridegroom dance at night together, no matter for the guests. Tomorrow, Sue, tomorrow. Shall's to dinner now?
We are on all sides pleased, I hope.
Pray heaven I may deserve the blessing sent me. Now my heart is settled.
So is mine.
Your marriage money shall be received before your wedding shoes can be pulled on. Blessing on you both.
Aside.
No man can hide his shame from heaven that views him. In vain he flees whose destiny pursues him.
Exeunt. End of Act 1. Act 2 of The Witch of Edmonton by William Rowley, Thomas Dekker, and John Ford. Act the 2nd. Scene 1. The fields near Edmonton. Enter Mother Sawyer gathering sticks.
And why on me? Why should the envious world throw all their scandalous malice upon me? 'Cause I am poor, deformed, and ignorant, and like a bow buckled and bent together by some more strong in mischiefs than myself. Must I for that be made a common sink, for all the filth and rubbish of men's tongues to fall and run into? Some call me witch, and being ignorant of myself, they go about to teach me how to be one, urging that my bad tongue, by their bad usage made so, forespeaks their cattle, doth bewitch their corn, themselves their servants, and their babes at nurse. This they enforce upon me, and in part make me to credit it. And here comes one of my chief adversaries.
Enter Old Banks.
Out! Out upon thee, witch!
Dost call me witch?
I do, witch, I do. And worse I would, knew I a name more hateful. What makest thou upon my ground?
Gather a few rotten sticks to warm me.
Down with them when I bid thee quickly. I'll make thy bones rattle in thy skin else.
You won't, churl, cutthroat, miser. There they are.
Throws them down.
Would they stuck across thy throat, thy bowels, thy maw, thy midriff?
Sayest thou me so, hag? Out of my ground.
Beats her.
Dost strike me, slave, curmudgeon? Now thy bones ache, thy joints cramp, and convulsions stretch and crack thy sinews.
Cursing, thou hag! Take that, and that.
Beats her an exit.
Strike, do, and withered may that hand and arm whose blows have lamed me drop from the rotten trunk. Abuse me, beat me, call me hag and witch? What is the name? Where and by what art learned? What spells, what charms or invocations may the thing called familiar be purchased?
Enter Cuddy Banks and several other clowns.
A new head for the tabor, and silver tipping for the pipe. Remember that, and forget not 5 leash of new bells.
Double bells. Crooked Lane. Ye shall have 'em straight in Crooked Lane. Double bells all, if it be possible.
Double bells? Double coxcombs? Trebles, by me trebles, all trebles. For our purpose is to be in the altitudes.
All trebles, not a mean.
Not one. The Morris is so cast, we'll have neither mean nor base in our company, fellow Rowland.
What? Nor a counter?
By no means. No hunting counter. Leave that to Enfield chase men. All trebles, all in the altitudes. Now, for the disposing of parts in the Morris. Little or no labour will serve.
If you be that minded to follow your leader, know me, an ancient honour belonging to our house. For a 4-horse to the team and 4-gallon to the Morris, my father's stable is not unfurnished.
So much for the 4-horse. But how for a good hobby horse?
For a hobby horse? Let me see an almanac. Midsummer moon? Let me see ye. When the moon's in the full, then's wit in the wane. No more. Use your best skill. Your Morris will suffer an eclipse.
An eclipse?
A strange one.
Strange?
Yes, and most sudden. Remember the 4-gallant, and forget the hobby horse. The whole body of your Morris will be darkened. There be of us, but 'tis no matter. Forget the hobby horse.
Cuddy Banks! Have you forgot since he paced it from Enfield Chase to Edmonton? Cuddy, honest Cuddy, cuss thy stuff.
Suffer may ye all. It shall be known, I can take mine ease as well as another man. Seek your hobby horse where you can get him.
Cuddy, honest Cuddy, we confess, and we are sorry for our neglect.
The old horse shall have a new bridle.
The caparisons new painted.
The tail repaired. The snaffle and the bosses new saffroned o'er.
Kind.
Honest.
Loving. Ingenious.
Affable Cuddy.
To show I am not flint, but affable, as you say, very well stuffed, a kind of warm dough or puff paste, I relent. I connive. Most affable Jack. Let the hobby horse provide a strong back. He shall not want a belly when I am on him. But,
Seeing Sawyer.
Who's me? Mother Sawyer.
The old Witch of Edmonton. If our mirth be not crossed.
Bless us, Cuddy, and let her curse her t'other eye out. What dost now?
Ungirt, unblessed, says the proverb. But my girdle shall serve for a riding knot, and a fig for all the witches in Christendom. What wouldst thou?
The devil cannot abide to be crossed.
And scorns to come at any man's whistle.
Away!
With the witch!
Away with the Witch of Edmonton!
Exeunt in strange postures.
still vexed, still tortured. That curmudgeon Banks is ground of all my scandal. I am shunned and hated like a sickness, made a scorn to all degrees and sexes. I have heard old beldams talk of familiars in the shape of mice, rats, ferrets, weasels, and I wot not what, that have appeared and sucked, some say, their blood. But by what means they came acquainted with them, I am now ignorant. Would some power, good or bad, instruct me which way I might be revenged upon this churl, I'd go out of myself, and give this fury leave to dwell within this ruined cottage ready to fall with age, abjure all goodness, be at hate with prayer, and study curses, imprecations, blasphemous speeches, oaths, detested oaths, or anything that's ill. So I might work revenge upon this miser, this black cur that barks and bites and sucks the very blood of me and my credit. 'Tis all one, to be a witch as to be counted one. Vengeance, shame, ruin, light upon that canker.
Enter a black dog.
Ho, have I found thee cursing? Now thou art mine own.
Thine? What art thou?
He thou hast so often importuned to appear to thee, the devil.
Bless me, the devil?
Come, do not fear. I love thee much too well to hurt or fright thee. If I seem terrible, it is to such as hate me. I have found thy love unfeigned, have seen and pitied thy open wrongs, and come out of my love to give thee just revenge against thy foes.
May I believe thee?
To confirm it, command me. Do any mischief unto man or beast, and I'll effect it, on condition that, uncompelled, thou make a deed of gift of soul and body to me.
Out, alas, my soul and body?
And that instantly, and seal it with thy blood. If thou deniest, I'll tear thy body in 1,000 pieces.
I know not where to seek relief, but shall I, after such covenant sealed, see full revenge on all that wrong me?
Silly woman, the devil is no liar to such as he loves. Didst ever know or hear the devil a liar to such as he affects?
Then I am thine, at least so much of me as I can call mine own.
Equivocations? Art mine or no? Speak, or I'll tear
all thine.
Seal it with thy blood.
She pricks her arm, which he sucks. Thunder and lightning.
See, now I dare call thee mine. For proof, command me. Instantly I'll run to any mischief. Goodness can I none.
And I desire as little. There's an old churl, one Banks.
That wronged thee, lamed thee, called thee witch.
The same. First upon him I'd be revenged.
Thou shalt. Do but name how.
Go, touch his life.
I cannot.
Hast thou not vowed? Go, kill the slave.
I wannot.
I'll cancel then my gift. Dost laugh? Why wilt not kill him?
Fool, because I cannot. Though we have power, know it is circumscribed and tied in limits. Though he be cursed to thee, yet of himself he's loving to the world, and charitable to the poor. Now men that, as he, love goodness, though in smallest measure, live without compass of our reach. His cattle and corn I'll kill and mildew, but his life, until I take him as I late found thee, cursing and swearing, I've no power to touch.
Work on his corn and cattle then.
I shall. The Witch of Edmonton shall see his fall, if she at least put credit in my power, and in mine only, make orisons to me, and none but me.
Say how, and in what manner?
I'll tell thee. When thou wishest ill, corn, man, or beast, wouldst spoil or kill, turn thy back against the sun, and mumble this short orison. If thou to death or shame pursuem, sanctificator nomen tuum.
If thou to death or shame pursuem, sanctificator nomen tuum.
Perfect. Farewell. Our first made promises we'll put in execution against Banks.
Exit.
Contaminator nomen tuum. I'm an expert scholar, speak Latin or I know not well what language, as well as the best of 'em. But who comes here?
Re-enter Cuddy Banks.
The son of my worst foe. To death pursuem, et sanctificator nomen tuum.
What's that she mumbles? The devil's paternoster? Would it were else. Mother Sawyer, good morrow.
Ill morrow to thee, and all the world that flout a poor old woman. To death pursuem, and sanctificator nomen tuum.
Nay, good Gamma Sawyer, whate'er it pleases my father to call you, I know you are...
A witch.
A witch? Would you were else, I faith?
Your father knows I am, by this.
I would he did.
And so in time may you.
I would I might else. But, witch or no witch, you are a motherly woman, and though my father be a kind of God bless us, as they say, I've an earnest suit to you, and if you'll be so kind to car me one good turn, I'll be so courteous as to cob you another.
What's that? To spurn, beat me, and call me witch, as your kind father doth?
My father, I'm ashamed to own him. If he has hurt the head of thy credit, there's money to buy thee a plaster.
Gives her money.
And a small courtesy I would require at thy hands.
You seem a good young man, and...
Aside.
I must dissemble, the better to accomplish my revenge. But, for this silver, what wouldst have me do? Bewitch thee?
No, by no means. I am bewitched already. I would have thee so good as to unwitch me, or witch another with me for company.
I understand thee not. Be plain, my son.
As a pike-staff, mother. You know Kate Carter?
The wealthy yeoman's daughter? What of her?
That same party has bewitched me.
Bewitched thee?
Bewitched me. Hisky or rebus. I saw a little devil fly out of her eye like a burbolt, which sticks at this hour up to the feathers in my heart. Now, my request is to send one of thy what-ye-call-ems either to pluck out that or stick another as fast in hers. Do, and here's my hand. I am thine for 3 lives.
Aside.
We shall have sport. Thou art in love with her?
Up to the very hilts, mother.
And thou wouldst have me make her love thee too?
Aside.
I think she'll prove a witch in earnest. Yes, I could find in my heart to strike her 3/4 deep in love with me too.
But dost thou think that I can do it, and I alone?
Truly, Mother Witch, I do verily believe so, and when I see it done, I shall be half persuaded so too.
It is enough. What art can do, be sure of. Turn to the west, and whatsoe'er thou hearest or seest, stand silent, and be not afraid.
She stamps on the ground, the dog appears and fawns and leaps on her.
Afraid, Mother Witch? Turn my face to the west. I said I should always have a back friend of her, and now it's out. And her little devil shall be hungry, come sneaking behind me like a cowardly catchpole, and clap his talons on my haunches? 'Tis woundy cold, sure. I dudder and shake like an aspen leaf every joint of me.
To scandal and disgrace pursuem, et sanctibi setur nomen tuum.
Exit dog.
How now, my son, how is't?
Scarce in a clean life, mother witch. But did your goblin and you spout Latin together?
A kind of charm I work by. Didst thou hear me?
I heard, I know, not the devil what mumble in a scurvy bass tone, like a drum that had taken cold in the head the last muster. Very comfortable words. What were they? And who taught them you?
A great learned man.
Learned man? Learned devil it was as soon. But what? What comfortable news about the party?
Who? Kate Carter? I'll tell thee. Thou knowest the stile at the west end of thy father's peas field. Be there to-morrow night after sunset, and the first live thing thou seest be sure to follow, and that shall bring thee to thy love.
In the peas field? Has she a mind to codlings already? The first living thing I meet, you say, shall bring me to her?
To a sight of her, I mean. She will seem wantonly coy and flee thee, but follow her close and boldly. Do but embrace her in thy arms once, and she is thine own.
At the stile at the west end of my father's peasland, the first live thing I see, follow and embrace her, and she shall be thine. Nay, and I come to embracing once, she shall be mine. I'll go near to make at eaglet else.
Exit.
A ball well bandied, now the set's half won. The father's wrong I'll wreak upon the son.
Exit. Scene 2. Carter's house. Enter Carter, Warbeck, and Somerton.
How now, gentlemen? Cloudy? I know, Master Warbeck, you are in a fog about my daughter's marriage.
And can you blame me, sir?
Nor you me, justly. Wedding and hanging are tied up both in a proverb, and destiny is the juggler that unties the knot. My hope is, you are reserved to a richer fortune than my poor daughter.
However, your promise
is a kind of debt, I confess it,
which honest men should pay.
Yet some gentlemen break in that point now and then, by your leave, sir.
I confess thou hast had a little wrong in the wench, but patience is the only salve to cure it. Since Thorny has won the wench, he has most reason to wear her.
Love in this kind admits no reason to wear her.
Then love's a fool, and what wise man will take exception?
Come, frolic, Ned. Were every man master of his own fortune, fate might pick straws, and destiny go a wool-gathering.
You hold yours in a string, though. 'Tis well. But if there be any equity, look thou to meet like usage ere long.
In my love to her sister Catherine. Indeed, they are a pair of arrows drawn out of one quiver, and should fly at an even length. If she do run after her sister,
look for the same mercy at my hands as I have received at thine.
She'll keep a surer compass. I have too strong a confidence to mistrust her.
And that confidence is a wind that has blown many a married man ashore at Cuckold's Haven, I can tell you. I wish yours more prosperous, though.
Whate'er you wish, I'll master my promise to him.
Yes, as you did to me.
No more of that, if you love me. But for the more assurance, the next offered occasion shall consummate the marriage, and that, once sealed...
Leave the manage of the rest to my care. But see, the bridegroom and bride come, the new pair of Sheffield knives, fitted both to one sheath.
The sheath might have been better fitted, if somebody had their due, but...
No harsh language, if thou lovest me. Frank Thorny has done...
No more than I, or thou, or any man things so standing would have attempted.
Enter Frank Thorny and Susan.
Good morrow, master bridegroom.
Come, give thee joy. Mayst thou live long and happy in thy fair choice.
I thank you, gentlemen. Kind Master Warbeck, I find you loving.
Thorny, that creature, much good do thee with her. Virtue and beauty hold fair mixture in her. She's rich, no doubt, in both. Yet, were she fairer, thou art right worthy of her. Love her, Thorny. 'Tis nobleness in thee, in her but duty. The match is fair and equal, the success I leave to censure. Farewell, mistress bride, till now elected, thy old scorn deride.
Exit.
Good Master Thorny.
Nay, you shall not part till you see the barrels run a tilt, gentlemen.
Exit with Somerton.
Why change you your face, sweetheart?
Who, I? For nothing.
Dear, say not so. A spirit of your constancy cannot endure this change for nothing. I have observed strange variations in you.
In me?
In you, sir. Awake, you seem to dream, and in your sleep you utter sudden and distracted accents, like one at enmity with peace. Dear loving husband, if I may dare to challenge any interest in you, give me the reason fully. You may trust my breast as safely as your own.
With what? You half amaze me. Prithee.
Come, you shall not, indeed you shall not, shut me from partaking the least dislike that grieves you. I am all yours.
And I all thine.
You are not if you keep the least grief from me. But I find the cause. It grew from me.
From you?
From some distaste in me or my behaviour. You're not kind in the concealment. Alas, sir, I am young, silly, and plain, more strange to those contents a wife should offer. Say but in what I fail, I'll study satisfaction.
Come, in nothing.
I know I do. Knew I as well in what, you should not long be sullen. Prithee, love, if I have been immodest or too bold, speak it in a frown. If peevishly too nice, show it in a smile. Thy liking is the glass by which I'll habit my behaviour.
Wherefore dost weep now?
You, sweet, have the power to make me passionate as an April day. Now smile, then weep. Now pale, then crimson red. You are the powerful moon of my blood sea, to make it ebb or flow into my face, as your looks change.
Change thy conceit, I prithee. Thou art all perfection. Diana herself swells in thy thoughts and moderates thy beauty. Within thy left eye amorous Cupid sits feathering love shafts, whose golden heads he dipped in thy chaste breast. In the other lies blushing Adonis, scarfed in modesties. And still as wanton Cupid blows love fires, Adonis quenches out unchaste desires, and from these two I briefly do imply a perfect emblem of thy modest eye. Then prithee, dear, maintain no more dispute, for when thou speak'st, it's fit all tongues be mute.
Come, come, these golden strings of flattery shall not tie up my speech, sir. I must know the ground of your disturbance.
Then look here, for here is the fen in which this hydra of discontent grows rank.
Heaven shield it! Where?
In mine own bosom, here the cause has root. The poisoned leeches twist about my heart, and will, I hope, confound me.
You speak riddles.
Take it plainly, then. 'Twas told me, by a woman known and approved in palmistry, I should have 2 wives.
2 wives? Sir, I take it exceeding likely. But let not conceit hurt you. You're afraid to bury me.
No, no, my Winnifred.
How say you, Winnifred? You forget me.
No, I forget myself. Susan.
In what?
Talking of wives, I pretend Winnifred, a maid that at my mother's waited on me before thyself.
I hope, sir, she may live to take my place. But why should all this move you?
The poor girl.
Aside.
She has it before thee, and that's the fiend torments me.
Yet why should this raise mutiny within you? Such presages prove often false. Or say it should be true?
That I should have another wife?
Yes, many. If they be good, the better.
Never any equal to thee in goodness.
Sir, I could wish I were much better for you. Yet if I knew your fate ordained you for another, I could wish, so well I love you and your hopeful pleasure, me in my grave, and my poor virtues added to my successor.
Prithee, talk not of deaths or graves. Thou art so rare a goodness, as death would rather put itself to death than murder thee. But we, as all things else, are mutable and changing.
Yet you still move in your first sphere of discontent. Sweet, chase those clouds of sorrow, and shine clearly on me.
At my return I will.
Return? Ah me! Will you then leave me?
For a time I must. But how? As birds their young, or loving bees their hives, to fetch home richer dainties.
Leave me! Now has my fear met its effect. You shall not. Cost it my life, you shall not.
Why, your reason?
Like to the lapwing have you all this while with your false love deluded me, pretending counterfeit senses for your discontent. And now at last it is by chance stole from you.
What? What by chance?
Your pre-appointed meeting of single combat with young Warbeck. Even so, dissemble not, 'tis too apparent. Then in his look I read it. Deny it not, I see it apparent. Cost it my undoing, and unto that my life, I will not leave you.
Not until when?
Till he and you be friends. Was this your cunning? And then flam me off with an old witch, 2 wives, and Winnifred? You're not so kind indeed as I imagined.
Aside.
And you are more fond by far than I expected. It is a virtue that attends thy kind. But of our business within, and by this kiss, I'll anger thee no more. Troth, Chuck, I will not.
You shall have no just cause.
Dear Sue, I shall not.
Exeunt. End of Act 2.